Mom, I need to talk to you about something important. Those were the words my son Kevin spoke over Sunday dinner, and in that moment, I had no idea my entire life was about to change forever. He'd come to my house in Sacramento for the first time in 8 months, and I was so happy to see him that I'd made all his favorite foods. Pot roast. Mashed potatoes. Apple pie. But the way he pushed his food around his plate, the way he couldn't meet my eyes, I knew something was terribly wrong. And then he said it. Mom, I have kidney disease. Stage 4. The doctors say I need a transplant soon or I'm going to die. I didn't hesitate for even a second. Test me, I said. I'll give you one of mine. What I didn't know is that giving my son my kidney would cost me far more than an organ. It would cost me my dignity, my health, and the illusion that I mattered to him at all. Hey everyone, welcome back to Maees Stories. I'm so grateful you're here today, though I need to warn you, this story is going to be absolutely heartbreaking. If you've ever given everything to someone you love only to be completely abandoned when you needed them most, if you've ever sacrificed your own well-being for someone who couldn't even bother to check if you were okay, then what I'm about to share is going to hit you right in the heart. Before we get started, if you're new here, welcome to our community where we talk about the real, raw, messy truth about family relationships. The kind of stories that don't get told at Thanksgiving dinner. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we share stories like this every single week. And to my loyal viewers who come back time and time again, thank you. Your support means everything. Alright, let's dive into this incredibly difficult story. My name is Patricia Chen. I'm 74 years old now, but this story begins when I was 67, living alone in Sacramento, California. My husband Robert had died 3 years earlier, and I was still navigating what it meant to be a widow after 42 years of marriage. My son Kevin was 38 at the time, married to a woman named Melissa, and living about 20 minutes away from me. I'll be honest with you. Kevin and I weren't super close. We talked maybe once a month. He was busy with his career, his marriage, his life. And I understood that. Adult children have their own worlds. I'd learned not to take it personally when weeks would go by without hearing from him. I'd tell myself that no news was good news, that he was happy and healthy and living his life. So when he called and asked if he could come over for Sunday dinner, I was thrilled. I went to the grocery store and bought all his favorite ingredients. I spent hours in the kitchen, cooking with the kind of love only a mother understands. Every stir of the pot, every seasoning choice, was an act of devotion. He arrived right on time, and Melissa was with him. They both looked serious, stressed, and my immediate thought was that maybe they were having marriage problems. Maybe they needed advice. Maybe they needed a mediator. I was prepared for that conversation. I was not prepared for what Kevin actually said. Stage 4 kidney disease. Those words hung in the air like smoke. My baby, my only child, the boy I'd carried for 9 months and raised alone after his father died, was dying. His kidneys were failing, and without a transplant, he had maybe 2 years left. Maybe less. Melissa was crying softly. Kevin looked pale, frightened, younger than his 38 years. And me? I went into mother mode immediately. That primal, protective instinct that kicks in when your child is in danger. Test me, I said before he could even finish explaining. I'll give you one of mine. You're my son. Of course I'll give you a kidney. Kevin's eyes filled with tears. Mom, I can't ask you to do that. You're 67 years old. The surgery could be dangerous for you. The recovery is brutal. You could have complications. You're not asking, I told him. I'm offering. This isn't a discussion. We test me tomorrow, and if I'm a match, we schedule the surgery. Melissa spoke up then, her voice careful. Patricia, are you sure? This is major surgery. You'd need months of recovery. You'd be living with one kidney for the rest of your life. If anything happens to that kidney, you'd be the one needing a transplant. I looked at my son, really looked at him. This was the baby I'd nursed through colic. The toddler I'd walked to kindergarten. The teenager I'd stayed up late with, helping him study for exams. The young man I'd sent off to college with tears in my eyes. He was my world. My only child. My legacy. I'm sure, I said. Let's get the testing done. The testing took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of blood work, tissue typing, cross-matching, medical evaluations. 3 weeks of hoping and praying that my body would be compatible with his. 3 weeks of imagining a world where I couldn't save my own son. And then the call came. Dr. Rodriguez, the transplant coordinator, asked me to come in for a consultation. Kevin and Melissa were already there when I arrived. Maees Chen, Dr. Rodriguez said with a smile, "You're a perfect match. Not just compatible. Perfect. Your tissue markers align almost identically. This is actually rare even between parents and children." I cried. Kevin cried. Even Melissa cried. We were going to save his life. My kidney was going to give my son decades more to live, to love, to exist in this world. But then Dr. Rodriguez got serious. "Maees Chen, I need to make absolutely sure you understand the risks. At your age, kidney donation carries significant complications. Your recovery will be longer and harder than Kevin's. You'll need help for at least 3 months. You won't be able to lift anything over 5 pounds. You won't be able to drive. You'll need someone to help you shower, dress, prepare meals." "I understand," I said. "And you'll be living with one kidney for the rest of your life. If anything happens to it, if you develop kidney disease yourself, you'd be the one needing a transplant. You'd go to the bottom of the list because you voluntarily gave away a healthy organ." "I understand," I repeated. Dr. Rodriguez looked at me with kind but concerned eyes. "Maees Chen, are you sure you want to do this? You can change your mind at any point. No one would judge you. This is an enormous sacrifice." I looked him straight in the eye. "Dr. Rodriguez, if your child needed a kidney and you could give them one, would you hesitate?" He smiled sadly. "No. I wouldn't." "Then you have your answer." The surgery was scheduled for 6 weeks later. In those weeks, I prepared like I was going to war. I updated my will. I arranged for my neighbor Dorothy to check on my house and collect my mail. I meal prepped and froze dinners for my recovery period. I bought comfortable pajamas, books to read during recovery, everything the hospital suggested. Kevin and Melissa visited twice during those 6 weeks. Once to drive me to a pre-surgery appointment because I'd asked them to. Once to drop off some paperwork the hospital needed. Both visits lasted less than an hour. "We're just really busy with work," Melissa explained. "And Kevin needs to stay as healthy as possible before the surgery. Can't risk catching anything." I understood. I was busy preparing too. Preparing to give my son a piece of my body. Preparing to sacrifice my health, my independence, my future kidney function. Preparing to potentially die on an operating table so my son could live. The day of surgery arrived. I kissed Dorothy goodbye at 5 in the morning. She'd driven me to the hospital because Kevin and Melissa needed to arrive separately so Kevin could prep for his surgery. In the pre-op area, a nurse held my hand while they inserted my fore. "Where's your family?" she asked. "My son is in his own pre-op area," I said. "He's the recipient." She smiled. "What you're doing is beautiful. He's lucky to have a mother like you." I felt proud in that moment. Proud that I could do this for him. Proud that my body, at 67, was healthy enough to donate. proud that I was the kind of mother who would do anything for her child. The anesthesia made me drowsy. The last thing I remember before going under was thinking about Kevin as a baby, how small and perfect he'd been, how I'd counted his tiny fingers and toes and marveled that I'd created this human being. Now I was giving him life all over again. I woke up in the ICU in more pain than I'd ever experienced in my entire life. Everything hurt. My abdomen hurt. My back hurt. My chest hurt from the breathing tube. Even blinking hurt. The pain medication helped, but not enough. Nothing could have prepared me for how brutal recovery would be. A nurse checked my vitals. She was kind, gentle, professional. "You did great," she said. "The kidney came out perfectly. They transplanted it into your son within hours, and it started working immediately. Perfect outcome." "Can I see him?" I whispered. My throat was raw from the breathing tube. "Not yet," she said. "You need to stabilize first. Maybe tomorrow." Tomorrow came. Kevin's room was down the hall. I asked a nurse to take me in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk yet. The pain was too intense. "Oh, sweetie," the nurse said with genuine sympathy, "Kevin was discharged this morning. He's home recovering." "He left?" I couldn't process it. "Without seeing me?" "His wife said you'd understand. He needed to get home to rest." I spent 5 days in that hospital. 5 days of excruciating pain, limited mobility, feeling like my body had been cut in half. Kevin called once. Once. On day 3. The conversation lasted maybe 4 minutes. "Mom, I'm doing great. The kidney is working perfectly. The doctors say I'm recovering ahead of schedule. Thanks so much for this amazing gift. I'll visit as soon as I'm strong enough." "How are you feeling?" I managed to ask. "Oh, tired but good. Melissa's mom is staying with us to help out, so I'm well taken care of. Listen, I gotta go, but I'll call you soon. Love you." He hung up before I could respond. Melissa never called at all. Not once during my entire hospital stay. Dorothy picked me up when I was discharged. She was horrified at how weak I was. I could barely walk from the wheelchair to her car. I couldn't lift my own overnight bag. I couldn't even fasten my own seatbelt because lifting my arms above my shoulders sent shooting pain through my entire torso. "Where's Kevin?" Dorothy asked, confused. "Shouldn't he be here helping you?" "He needs to rest and recover," I said automatically. "The kidney transplant is major surgery." Dorothy's face hardened. "So is being the donor. You literally gave him an organ from your body." I was too tired and in too much pain to argue. The first week home was absolute hell. I couldn't shower alone because I couldn't lift my arms to wash my hair. I couldn't cook because standing for more than 5 minutes made me dizzy and nauseous. I couldn't sleep lying down because the pain was too intense, so I slept sitting up in my recliner. I lived on crackers and frozen meals that Dorothy heated up for me. Kevin texted me updates. Just updates. Not questions. Not concerns. Just cheerful messages about how well he was doing. "Feeling great. Kidney is working perfectly. Doctor says I'm recovering ahead of schedule. Went for a short walk today. Felt amazing to be outside. Back at work part-time already. This kidney is a miracle." I was happy for him. Truly. That's what I'd given my kidney for him to be healthy and happy and alive. But a small, ungenerous part of me kept waiting for him to ask how I was doing. To acknowledge that I was struggling. To show even the smallest amount of concern for the woman who'd given him her organ. He never did. Week 2, Dorothy found me crying on the bathroom floor. I'd tried to shower alone and slipped getting out. I wasn't hurt, just humiliated and exhausted and in so much pain I couldn't stand up by myself. "That's it," Dorothy said. "I'm calling Kevin. He needs to be here." "No," I said quickly. "He's still recovering. I don't want to stress him out." "Patricia, you gave that boy your kidney. The least he can do is check on you." She called him anyway while I was too weak to stop her. I could hear only her side of the conversation, but it was enough. "Your mother is on the bathroom floor. She can't shower alone. She needs help." "No, she doesn't have anyone else. You're her son. You're working from home, you said so yourself. 3 weeks? You can't visit for 3 weeks? No, Kevin, I don't think you understand." He'd hung up on her. "What did he say?" I asked from the floor. Dorothy's face was red with anger. "He said you'd understand that he needs to focus on his health right now. That his doctor said to avoid stress. And that Melissa's mother is staying with them to help, so their house is full." Melissa's mother was there, helping her perfectly healthy daughter care for my son, who was recovering beautifully because he had my kidney working in his body. Meanwhile, no one was here helping me, the donor who'd made his recovery possible. "He also said," Dorothy continued quietly, "that you've always been self-sufficient and you'd be fine. That you wouldn't want to be a burden." A burden. My son thought checking on me after I gave him my organ would make me a burden. That night, lying in my recliner because I still couldn't sleep in my bed, I did something I should have done weeks ago. I looked back at my relationship with Kevin over the past year. Really examined it. How often had he called me before he needed the kidney? I counted. Twice. He'd called twice in the entire year before his diagnosis. Once to ask if I could co-sign a car loan. I'd said no because my fixed retirement income didn't qualify. He'd been noticeably cold after that. The second call was on my birthday, and it lasted exactly 4 minutes. "Happy birthday, Mom. Hope you have a great day. Gotta run." Before that year? Maybe 5 calls total. Always brief. Always surface level. Never asking about my life, my health, my loneliness since Robert died. I'd told myself we were both busy. That adult children have their own lives. That he loved me even if he wasn't demonstrative. But now, lying in pain with his kidney thriving in his body while I couldn't even shower alone, I had to face an ugly truth. Kevin had never really been interested in a relationship with me. He'd tolerated me when it was convenient. He'd love-bombed me when he needed something major, like an organ. But the moment he got what he needed, I became invisible again. Week 3, I managed to walk to my mailbox for the first time. Inside was a card from Kevin and Melissa. The front said thank you for everything in fancy script. Inside, the message read, "Mom, we can't thank you enough for this incredible gift. You've given me a second chance at life. We'll never forget it. Love, Kevin and Melissa. P.S. We've started looking at houses. The kidney function is so good that doctors say I can go back to my normal life. Might even start a family soon. Isn't that great?" They were house hunting and family planning while I was struggling to walk to the mailbox. Kevin was living his best life, making future plans, celebrating his health. And I was living in a nightmare of pain and abandonment, wondering if I'd ever feel normal again. I stood there in my driveway, reading the card over and over. Thank you for everything. A greeting card. I had given my son a literal piece of my body, sacrificed my health and independence, and I got a greeting card in return. Not a visit. Not help during recovery. Not even regular phone calls to check on me. A card. Dorothy found me standing there and led me back inside. "You're shaking," she said. "Are you okay?" "No," I said. "I don't think I am." That night, I started researching organ donation recovery. What I found devastated me. There were entire support groups for living kidney donors who felt abandoned after surgery. Story after story of donors who gave organs to family members and were then neglected once the recipient recovered. I gave my sister my kidney and she didn't come to my daughter's funeral. My brother got my kidney and never called to check on me during recovery. My son needed my kidney desperately. Got it. Forgot about me immediately. The pattern was so common there was actually research on it. Living donors often experience depression, not just from physical trauma but from the emotional letdown when their profound gift isn't adequately appreciated. Many donors felt their recipients wanted to forget they'd ever needed help, wanted to move on with their improved lives without the reminder of their vulnerability. I wasn't alone in this experience. I was just one of thousands who'd learned the hard way that some family members saw you as a resource, not a person. Week 4, I was finally strong enough to drive short distances. I went to my post-surgery checkup with Dr. Rodriguez. He reviewed my labs and examined my incision. "How are you healing, Patricia?" he asked. "Physically, I'm okay." Emotionally, I paused. Has this ever happened before? A donor being abandoned after surgery? Dr. Rodriguez's face softened with sad recognition. Unfortunately, yes. More often than you'd think. There's actually research on it. Living donors often receive intensive attention before surgery and are then neglected afterward once the recipient recovers. It's one of the ethical concerns with living donation from family members. Why didn't you warn me? Would it have changed your decision? I thought about it honestly. No. That's why, he said gently. Most parents wouldn't let that possibility stop them from saving their child. But I am sorry you're experiencing this. It's not fair, and it's not right. What do I do about it? You heal. You process. You decide what boundaries you need to protect yourself going forward. And you remember that the gift you gave was still valuable, even if the recipient doesn't honor it properly. On my way home, I made an impulsive decision. I stopped by Kevin's house. I hadn't been invited, but I'd given him a kidney. Surely that earned me at least a visit. I knocked on the door. Melissa answered, and her face fell when she saw me. Patricia! What are you doing here? We weren't expecting you. I was in the neighborhood after my doctor's appointment. I thought I'd stop by and see how Kevin is doing. She didn't invite me in. He's napping. The recovery is really taking it out of him. But through the doorway, I could see Kevin on the couch. Not napping. Scrolling through his phone and laughing at something. Melissa, I said quietly, I can see him. He's not sleeping. She flushed. He needs his rest. The doctor said to limit visitors. I'm not a visitor. I'm his mother. Who gave him my kidney 4 weeks ago. And we're so grateful. Really. Kevin says thank you all the time. He just needs space right now to focus on healing. I needed space too. And help. And basic human kindness. I got none of those things. Kevin must have heard my voice because he came to the door. He looked fantastic. Healthy, pink-cheeked, energetic. My kidney was clearly doing its job beautifully. Meanwhile, I looked terrible. Pale, thin, weak. My recovery was clearly not going as well. Mom! Hey! What are you doing here? He seemed genuinely surprised, like my showing up was completely unexpected. I wanted to see how you were doing. Oh, I'm great. Like, really great. Better than I've felt in years. The kidney is amazing, Mom. It's like I got a whole new life. I'm glad, I said, meaning it. We stood there awkwardly. He didn't invite me in. Didn't ask how I was doing. Didn't even seem to notice that I looked unwell. Finally, I said, Kevin, I need to know something. Do you think about the fact that I'm living with one kidney now? That I gave up half my kidney function and 3 months of independence so you could be healthy? He looked confused. Of course I think about it. I'm super grateful, Mom. I said thank you. You sent a card. A really nice card. Melissa interjected. I gave you my kidney, Kevin. A card doesn't seem proportional to that. Kevin's expression shifted from confusion to irritation. What do you want, Mom? A parade? I said thank you. I appreciate it. But I can't just drop everything to take care of you. I have to focus on my health. I focused on your health, while sacrificing my own. That was your choice. No one forced you. The words were like knives. Physical wounds that cut deeper than any surgical incision. He was right. I had chosen this. But I'd chosen it believing we had the kind of relationship where such a sacrifice would be mutually valued. Where giving your child an organ would create deeper bonds, not resentment. You're right, I said quietly. It was my choice. And now I'm making another choice. I'm leaving. And I won't be back unless you invite me. Really invite me, with genuine interest in a relationship, not just obligation. I turned to leave. Mom, don't be dramatic, Kevin called after me. I kept walking. It wasn't dramatic. It was self-preservation. That night, I wrote an email to Kevin and Melissa. I deleted it 4 times before getting it right. The final version said, Kevin and Melissa, 4 weeks ago, I gave Kevin my kidney. It was the easiest decision I've ever made because I love my son and wanted him to live. What I didn't expect was to face my recovery alone. To not receive a single visit despite living 20 minutes away. To be told I'd be a burden if I asked for help. To realize that my value to you ended the moment the transplant succeeded. I don't regret the donation. I'd do it again because Kevin's life matters to me. But I do regret not seeing clearly what our relationship had become, transactional. I need to step back and heal, not just physically but emotionally. I need to process what it means to be valued only when I can provide something valuable. Don't contact me unless you genuinely want a relationship with me, not just gratitude for a medical procedure. I'll know the difference. Take care of that kidney. It's the last thing I have to give you. Mom. I hit send before I could chicken out. Kevin responded within an hour. Mom, you're clearly having some kind of emotional breakdown from the surgery. Maybe the anesthesia is affecting you. You're not thinking clearly. We love you and we're grateful, but you're being really unfair right now. Melissa sent a separate email. Patricia, I think you need to speak with someone professionally. This level of resentment toward Kevin after he's been through such a serious health crisis isn't healthy. We understand you're in pain, but so is he. Please consider therapy. They were gaslighting me. Making my legitimate hurt into a mental health crisis. Making my appropriate response to being abandoned into evidence of instability. I forwarded both emails to Dr. Rodriguez and asked if post-donation depression could make me delusional. He called me personally within an hour. Patricia, you're not delusional. You're having a completely normal reaction to being unappreciated and abandoned. Your responses are appropriate. Their responses are textbook manipulation, gaslighting you into thinking your legitimate hurt is mental illness. That's abuse. So what do I do? You hold your boundary. You heal. You build a life that doesn't revolve around people who only value you for what you can give them. I took his advice. I joined a post-donation support group. I started therapy. I focused on physical recovery and emotional healing. Kevin texted occasionally with updates about his life, his new house, his plans. Each message was about him. Never about me. 6 months post-donation, I was at the grocery store when I ran into Kevin and Melissa. I almost didn't recognize him. He looked so healthy, so vibrant, like a completely different person from the sick man who'd asked for my kidney. Mom! He seemed genuinely happy to see me. How are you? You look good. I didn't look good. Living with one kidney was harder on my body than doctors predicted. I was tired all the time, my remaining kidney was working overtime, and I'd aged noticeably. But I was managing. I'm surviving, I said. That's great. Hey, we have news. Melissa's pregnant. 3 months along. We're having a boy. Melissa glowed, her hand on her small bump. The doctor said Kevin's kidney function is so good that pregnancy wasn't a risk. Your kidney is literally making our family possible. My kidney. That's all I was to them now. Not mom. Not grandma-to-be. Just the source of the kidney that was making their family possible. Congratulations, I said flatly. Kevin noticed my tone. You okay, Mom? Kevin, you're about to be a father. You're about to understand what it means to love someone so much you'd give them anything. Maybe then you'll understand what I did for you. And what you didn't do for me in return. I walked away, leaving them standing by the produce section looking confused and offended. 2 years after the transplant, Kevin called. Not texted. Actually called. Mom, his voice was different. Softer. Broken, almost. I need to tell you something. James is 2 years old now, my grandson I'd never met. Yesterday he fell and scraped his knee badly. He cried for an hour. Nothing I did made him feel better. And Melissa said, he just needs to know you're here and you care. And in that moment, I understood. I understood what you must have felt, lying in a hospital bed, in pain, having just given me your kidney, and I didn't even visit. I understood what it must have been like to recover alone while I was celebrating my health. I understood that I took the most generous gift a parent can give and responded with nothing. I'm not making excuses. I was selfish. I was scared of feeling indebted. I was uncomfortable with owing you something I could never repay. So I minimized it. I pretended it wasn't a big deal so I wouldn't have to feel the weight of my gratitude. But now I'm a father, and I realize I would give James anything, including my organs, without hesitation. And if he treated me the way I treated you, it would destroy me. I destroyed you, didn't I? I didn't answer immediately. Couldn't. I know you don't talk to me anymore. I know you moved on. I know I've lost you, and I deserve that. But I need to tell you I'm sorry. Profoundly, desperately sorry. Not because I want something. Not because I expect forgiveness. But because you deserve to hear that you were right about everything. We talked for over an hour. Really talked. For the first time in maybe ever. I don't know if Kevin and I will ever have a real relationship again. I don't know if I can trust him. But I'm willing to see. Slowly. Carefully. With very clear boundaries. It's been 4 years since the transplant. Kevin's kidney function is perfect. My kidney saved his life. My kidney function is permanently reduced. His recovery came at my permanent expense. Was it worth it? Medically, yes. He's alive and healthy. Emotionally, I still don't know. But I learned something valuable. Love isn't measured by what you give. It's measured by how you're treated after you've given everything. That's my story. The mother who donated a kidney to her son and was abandoned during her recovery. The son who took my organ and gave me nothing in return. The slow, painful journey to understanding that biological ties don't guarantee reciprocal love. Thank you so much for watching this story. I know it was heavy. I know it probably brought up feelings for a lot of you. But that's what we do here at Maees Stories. We talk about the hard truths. The painful realities. The stories that need to be told even when they're difficult to hear. If you've ever sacrificed your health for someone who didn't appreciate it, if you've ever been made to feel crazy for expecting basic decency after a major sacrifice, if you've ever learned the hard way that giving everything doesn't guarantee receiving anything, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not wrong. And you deserve better. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Have you ever made a major sacrifice for someone who didn't show up for you when you needed them? How did you handle it? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube show this story to people who need to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Maees Stories and turn on that notification bell. Every week we share real stories about family dynamics, betrayal, boundaries, and finding your worth. Next week, I'll be sharing another powerful story that I think is going to really make you think about the relationships in your life. You definitely don't want to miss it. Until then, remember this: your worth is not determined by what you're willing to sacrifice. Your value doesn't come from what you can give away. And you are never, ever a burden for expecting the people you love to actually show up and love you back. Take care of yourselves out there. Protect your peace. Guard your boundaries. And never, ever let anyone make you feel guilty for expecting reciprocity. This is Maees Stories, reminding you that the most important person you can take care of is yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, everyone.